Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Something weird is happening. Now, before we get started, I just want to say don't get paranoid. Don't get paranoid at all. And if you are going out and enjoying yourself this fine New Year's Eve, please do so. Don't let me dissuade you or anything. But something weird is happening. All over Europe, France, Germany, Holland, Italy, Spain, you name it, everywhere. European capitals and major cities are bracing themselves for what they think is going to be a night of trouble. Police forces are on full alert. Some have preemptively put themselves on a state of emergency. Some are on state of emergency standby. A number of cities have called in all police, cancelled all police leave, that sort of thing. They've called in police from around surrounding areas. Some places have pulled in, I don't know what their terms are, whatever it is, their equivalency of the National Guard. Some armed response, military or pseudo-military, militia type affair, whatever they have, like the Guardia Civil in Spain, things like that. Because they're preparing for something. Now, what it is, we don't know. There's two things. We know since the Christmas market tragedy, the massacre, the murder by a certain community, killing children again, it seems to be their limit, that the police, particularly in Germany, are on very high alert, or uber alert since they're Germans. They're on uber cautious mode, and they're taking any kind of threat, however oblique or minor, and they're taking it seriously. Of course they are, because the German police knew in advance about Magdeburg. They were told who this guy was. They were told his name, who he was, what he was. They were told what to expect from him. And they did nothing. And so the German police now are maybe paranoid. Who knows? But it isn't just the German police. Like I say, it's Italy, Spain, France, Holland, you name it, all over Europe. Munich has been putting up no car zones. They've been making it, foot traffic only. They're trying to separate one thing from another. They don't want cars driving in and things like that. Apparently, Amsterdam is a ring of steel going around, things like that. And it's not just there, it's Britain as well. I've actually been a very short time ago, talked to a friend who the life of the one percenters, as it were. He was actually sitting in the American bar at the Savoy. He's going down to watch the fireworks on the Thames tonight. And the American bar, I don't know if you know the American bar at the Savoy, it's about £50 a drink. Mind you, it's very nice, I suppose, but, £50 a drink, no thanks, mate. But I suppose if you have to know the price, you can't afford it. That's the principle with the Savoy, I think. But he says only been there for a couple and they're going down. But they say you go onto the street. He says you were coming up the Strand, and he said the police presence was palpable. You could feel it. You could see it. Excuse me. Still getting over this cold. He said you were aware. You're walking along. And he said he had never seen so many armed police on the streets. He says, and it is, again, it's every single policeman. The Met apparently has also pulled in all its police. It's not mucking about tonight. And it's got them everywhere in sort of all the railway stations, tube stations in central London. They said they went through, you go up the road? Covent Garden, up from the Strand. So he was in Covent Garden. He says it was like Hendon Police College. He said just blue uniforms everywhere. and then they were coming down. And of course, it's going to be surrounded once the celebrations start. So he says that there's this obvious, almost military presence of the police on the streets of London. Now, you may be thinking, what, is there definitely a terrorist threat? Well, no, I don't know. For you see, yes, we do have a raised terrorist rating. A security rating has gone up. And I think that's partially the Magdeburg thing. I think it's partially because it's New Year's Eve and there are going to be, I pick a number, million and a half people standing by the Thames later on. Huge numbers of Europeans make a perfect target for a certain community. So that's definitely got to be something. However, I don't think it's the only thing that the police are scared of, or the authorities at least are scared of. I'm also going to suggest that tensions in this country, and indeed all across Europe, are very high. Only it's the locals, the natives, it's the European native population that's going to be angry and drunk. And I don't know, just talking about London, if 10,000 Met officers or however many are out on duty tonight is going to cut it when you've got 1.5 million angry, drunk Brits. Because it doesn't take much, a spark. And a crowd can turn nasty. And I think that is more what the authorities are scared of. Sure, they've got to take any kind of terrorism threat seriously. But I suspect the bigger threat to the authorities is not the foreign threat of a terrorist. It's the domestic threat of the people. And I think that is a genuine reason why Berlin, Madrid, Seville, Amsterdam, Milan, Rome, you name it, are pulling all their people together because the peoples of Europe, every man jack of them, are angry. They do not like what's being forced on them, what's being done to them, and they've had enough. And now there's going to be a lot of them in a single place, and they'll all have had a drink on them. And alcohol and anger don't mix. Now, my good friend Craig Houston said that they've cancelled the Edinburgh Hogman Festival tonight. The powers that be suggested it was because of the weather. Craig's up there now. He's saying that actually it's quite all right. So it was raining earlier, it's dry now. There's no strong winds. He said it's fine. He wouldn't go so far as to say what I'm going to say. But I'm not saying, I'm speculating. But I think it wasn't cancelled for the weather. I think it was cancelled for public disorder reasons. I don't think it's a terrorist threat. There may well be a terrorist threat. They're not telling you. I mean, it could be that there's a definite terrorist threat, but they don't want to say it's a terrorist threat because everybody will know who they mean by the threat. But I think it's more likely they're scared of the public. I think they're scared of the people. And that's why they're cancelling everything. Now, paranoid? No, I don't think I am. I'm not saying anything of this is true. I am saying it's an opinion. I'm saying it's speculation. But it's realistic speculation, isn't it? That, if they're putting so many police on the street, there must be a reason. And it's not like, just standard policing of a large crowd. They don't pull everyone in. They don't have, everyone on overtime. They don't have cancelled holidays and things like that, cancelling leave for New Year every year. Just this year they're doing it. And it's the whole of Europe. I think there's a tinderbox. One spark. And the whole thing blows up. Have a very happy New Year. Have a great New Year's Eve. Don't get too drunk. Make sure you get home safe. And I'll speak to you all tomorrow. And we'll say goodbye to 2024, a most interesting year, I think. And we look forward to 2025 and we start all over again. New year, new me, new diet, give up drinking, lose weight. I've got a whole list of things I don't intend to do. Thanks a lot.